Jumbo, here are more virus notes. They were not included in the package of papers that you picked up in March, so I have posted them on the Google Classroom site for today, and also you may have got an email with this attached as well, so you have it for reference. Viruses are so small they're considered submicroscopic. We cannot see them with a light microscope. They can be seen with an electron microscope that uses a beam of electrons to image things. On the left we have an electron micrograph of the measles virus. On the right we have an electron micrograph of a bacteriophage. And what this means is this virus would land on a bacterium cell, inject its genetic information, and take over the cell. So instead of the bacterium making more bacterium cells, now all of a sudden it's going to make virus particles. So it would be like if you took over a motor assembly plant, say Ford making pickup trucks. Now all of a sudden it's going to make something like army tanks. That's really what a virus does. It takes over the cell and gets it to make virus particles. Viruses can only replicate inside the cells of an organism, of something that's alive. This means they're involved in a parasitic relationship. And that kind of relationship, one party wins, one party loses. In this case, the virus is the parasite and it benefits. What they infect, the host, that is what is harmed. So if you are infected by a flu virus, the flu virus benefits and you are harmed and you are called a host. So viruses don't just attack humans, they can attack other animals, plants, and bacteria. There are many different ways they can be spread, and as we know with COVID-19, it is thought to be spread through droplets. When people either talk and breathe or cough or sneeze, those particles get ejected in the environment, and if they happen to make it into your lungs, you may get the virus. So that's why we have that 2-meter safety zone, wash your hands, all that stuff. Once in a host, viruses replicate rapidly. That means they make copies of themselves very quickly. So a bacterium, when it replicates, it just divides in two, something called binary fission. So you go from one bacterium, next generation you have 2, then 4, then 8, then 16. Well, viruses, just to give you some numbers, if a virus takes over a cell, you might start with 1. After 1 generation, now you have 100 virus particles that can go attack 100 cells. 100 times 100 is 10,000. So after 2 generations, all of a sudden you now have 10,000 virus particles. And those 10,000 can go and attack 10,000 cells, and multiply by 100, you end up with 1 million. And that's after just 3 generations. So that's why viral infections, if they go unchecked, they can really get the upper hand on us. Fortunately, we have an immune system. An immune system is designed to protect you from invaders. And these invaders can be bacteria, can be viruses. So somehow in your immune system, it has to be able to recognize what belongs to you and what doesn't. And if something doesn't belong there, it has to do something about it. In fact, it will try to kill it or destroy it. Antibodies are a big part of the immune system. If you have a pathogen, would be something disease-causing, for example, if you are invaded by bacteria or virus, your body will generate antibodies. And basically, these things are designed to fit or attach themselves to the invader. Now, the antibody may solve the problem itself, or it may just be that it flags it so other things as part of your immune system can come over and destroy the invader. And that's what it means by tagging it. The pathogen is the microorganism that can cause the disease. We carry on. So it talks about 3 antibody functions. So it talks about how bind to just means it's going to stick to and hopefully inactivate that foreign substance. It may have something that helps it destroy it. It says by lysis. Lysis means to split. And so it's sitting there punching holes in the cell wall of the invader. And it may allow the invader to actually be eaten by phagocytic cells. And so phagocytitis, ingestion of foreign bacteria. So that'd be like if you ran an army and you got invaded, you went out and you ate the other soldiers on the other team. Not recommended, but in terms of the body system, that's one way of defending yourself. So after you've been exposed to disease caused by a virus, you will often have immunity to that virus. And that's because you will have produced antibodies in your system that allow you to do a faster reaction if you're ever exposed to that virus again. Over time, though, typically those numbers of antibodies may go down, and so you may end up with less immunity down the road. And for certain diseases, you may need what's called a booster shot and things like that. And we're going to talk about those things in a moment here, where it says medical treatment. So this business with the antibodies, that was all done naturally by our immune system. Medical treatment for viral infections, what we aim for is a vaccine. The vaccine is something designed to get you to produce antibodies. So somehow they're going to deactivate the virus. So once you have the virus, you'll have, in a vaccine, you might inject a part of it. Somehow it's been deactivated. So it's not going to cause you harm, but it gets you to generate those antibodies. And again, the antibodies are that early warning system that are going to protect you if you get invaded by that virus sometime later. So often vaccinations will be by injection. There are some oral vaccines. That means you take them through your mouth, consume them that way. But it's going to allow you to produce antibodies, and it's almost as if you've been exposed to the actual virus. That's what we're trying to mimic. So as before, up above on the page, once you have those antibodies, you should have immunity to that virus. It does say not always. And the not always is, if the number of antibodies drops over time, you'll have less immunity. You may need a booster shot. And for example, for the first time in 40 years or something, I got a tetanus shot because it was about time. I was overdue, so I got to have those antibodies. And if the virus mutates, that means evolves to change its form slightly, then your antibodies may not work. And so that's one thing they worry about with certain viruses. Do they mutate rapidly or not? And for the flu virus, they'll talk about the flu shot. And often it's very hard to make a specific flu shot vaccine because you don't know exactly which virus is going to come over to North America in a given year. So vaccinations have saved many lives since they were first used over 200 years ago. And what you'll see is here's a list of diseases. Now, if you read carefully, you'll notice that some of these are bacterial, caused by bacteria, and some are viral, caused by viruses. And so that's just fleshes out our notes on viruses and also a bit about your immune system. If you carry on in biology, you'll get a lot more detail on those topics.